Welcome to another edition of the Esk8 Show, guys. Today we're live with Andrew Penman, electric skateboarding social media icon, well over 500,000 views. Welcome, Andrew.
Oh, thank you so much, Jack. Thank you for having me on. This is awesome. Brought to you by Red Bull. Only kidding.
Oh my God, straight in there with the advertisements. So, Andrew, please tell us your story. How long have you been skateboarding? How did you get into this hobby?
Awesome. Jack, thank you so much. Well, first of all, before I say thank you, good morning to UK skate riders. We've got a lot of good friends and fans there and subscribers. So thank you if you're watching. Thank you so much for all your support for my channel and what you guys do over there is incredible. You're an amazing bunch of guys with cutting edge stuff, and I'm really humbled to be on the channel today. So thank you so much for that. Yeah. I suppose how did I get into it? Well, let's have a wander down sort of memory lane, I suppose, in a sense. I'm mindful of the time, so I'll try and make this a little bit quick. It'll be about a 4-minute monologue.
What year are we starting at?
Well, the Vietnam War was still on, put it that way.
Wow.
I'm 59 next month, so I've been doing this stuff for a long time. And I suppose I got my first skateboard when I was about 10. And in those days, I was so lucky enough to be alive at a period of time where the clay wheels were still around, and we're riding clay wheels, which today's guys love sliding. But in those days, we didn't want to slide; we just had to slide. That's how you learned. And I was around when they brought out the first polyurethane wheel, and a guy called Frank Nasworthy in the States was a young surfer, and he basically saw the introduction of the polyurethane wheels for rollerblading, but they didn't want that. The rollerblading guys still wanted to use their steel wheels and all that kind of stuff for roller derbies. So he saw an advent where you could get it into skateboarding to get more grip and that sort of stuff. So I was really lucky to be around when that came in. So we had these urethane wheels that came in. And I just, I'll show you. I got one here. This is, for those guys watching.
Old school.
This is
so we're talking 1970 what?
1971. If you look close, this is my board. And this is the actual, the bearings were all open then. Used to put oil in there. Listen to the noise.
Oh.
If you worry about your skateboards, guys, this is what we were riding back in those days. And this is vintage, 50 years next year probably. I've kept that. I keep a lot of stuff like that. So, so when that came in, that was the first of that kind of very crude urethane. Well, it was actually polyurethane. It was rubbish. It's about 150 durameter on that. Still a great sliding board. And then, of course, we had through that guy, Frank Nasworthy. He sort of created Cadillac wheels. The rest is history. The urethanes came in very quickly. There was a company called Bain Skateboards, BAHNE, which was a big, and I had a flexible fiberglass Bain skateboard, which was incredible. And then I sent away for this thing. This is my next board, which is, this is a real, I rode this when I was 12 to 13. I've still got it. And look at that deck. Does that remind you of something, guys, that deck? Look at that. What design is that? Looks like the new GTR Evolved, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it? Yeah,
I think
you should have patented it.
And they've copied.
You think they went that far back to steal the design?
Oh, this is hilarious. We've digressed in all directions here. But this was pretty much my design of a Larry Bertelmann surfboard, because we were all surfers. See, we were surfers. We weren't actually skaters. So we weren't doing the Rod Muller flick thing, which came in the mid-'80s. We were just basically street surfers, carving, similar to what the Zephyr guys did in California with that whole, it's taking, when the surf was flat, you just ride boards. So that was my wheels. They were Tracker trucks and OJ wheels, and they are 50 years old nearly. And that still rides really well, still rides incredibly. The reason I show you those boards is that's what started me off on the whole journey of skateboarding. So I was basically a surfer primarily, and I used to ride the boards when the surf was flat. So that's why my style's more like a surf style rather than, like a fast or downhill kind of stuff. So just fast forward a little bit, then we went through the 80s. So then I was riding boards like, the Stacy Peraltas and the Tony Albers and who else? I was riding Globe and that sort of stuff. And then about 95, I'm nearly finished, 95, I started getting into the Sector 9s came in. They were amazing skateboards. They had the double Goldwing trucks, which Jack and I have talked about before, about the invention of that, which was amazing. Jack picked up
Sector 9, were they longboards?
They were, yeah, they were a mini longboard, and that's what it was. It was a longboard, but it was not sort of super long, but it was still a longboard. And that was the forerunner for really what electric skateboarding was, because we all got off those short flicking things and jumping on banisters, and which I never did any of that. That's why my knees are still pretty good. And then I suppose when I came into electric skateboarding, I had a head start because I'd really been riding those double gull-wing trucks since 1997. And Jeff Anning from Evolve picked up on that, copied it, got it, and put it on Evolve. They all think we all forget that that's been around a long time, those double gull-wing trucks. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And when I saw a couple of skateboard videos, including Casey Neistat in the early 2012 with the TED Talk with Boosted, it sort of got me thinking, geez, I wouldn't mind getting into this. This is a whole, it saves me walking. It's a transportation thing. So bang, I got my first electric skateboard. That's how I got into it, pretty much, yeah.
So you progressed from regular longboards to electric skateboards and making videos basically by watching that original Casey Neistat Boosted Board video. Is that the original inspiration?
That's actually a good question. Look, so you're right, Jack. What I did is I saw that and thought, I'm really ahead of the game. I was riding from my girlfriend at the time's house 20 houses up every night, carving my Sector 9 down here from 95, 96, 97. Well, most guys weren't even probably, out of our community, weren't even out of school at that stage. So I was really had a head start on sort of filling that that quick gap to jumping on a longboard, powered longboard. And when I got my first electric skateboard, it was 5 years ago. I changed it to Thick Mini. And if you ever look at it, it's a funny bit. It's my first videos. I haven't changed the format or what I do. I pretty much still do the same thing, but it was just too small for me. I was too heavy for it. And hence that I had to sort of step up the game to more powerful stuff. But yeah, after watching that, I thought we got to get into this. And when I saw the Boosteds, and I saw at the time Evolve in 2000. So I came into YouTube 2000, effectively 15, but really 2017 I started doing my main stuff. So I had a channel before, which I did a couple of boards like Swagtron, and I did Magneto. I remember Magneto board coming out of China that was like a cool wheel clone. I had a couple of those, and really they were just were hopeless. I didn't have any views, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to give this away. I'll just leave it and I'll come back, in a couple of years if I want to get into it. And then I took a break for 2 years and came back with that first video, which you'll see is the Thick Mini. So that was how I sort of started doing the reviews, and it was just for fun. I wasn't intending to do anything of this nature, and then just it sort of evolved, no pun, evolved from there type thing. So that's how it happened.
I think
brilliant.
Can you guys hear me okay?
Well, it's getting a bit
okay. So
there, Jack.
You can't hear me okay? You can hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think you guys had a little bit of a head start in Australia. It seemed to all happen a little bit earlier there than everywhere else, to the electric skateboarding. Why do you think that was?
Well, good. That's a good question, because we get lost in the whole thing about Evolve and Boosted. We sort of, the young guys, say 20 to 25, don't realize that, electric skateboarding started pretty much, its roots started. I mean, we know that skateboarding started in California. There's no question about that, from the blonde-haired, bushy-haired guys that rode their boards when Malibu was flat with their planks of wood. But as we got into skateboarding, California was obviously the origins of skateboarding. We know that. But Australia was really, we were great inventors and great innovators here. We invented the washing line that spins around with the clothing. We invented the lawnmower. We got some amazing technology here and brain power about making things.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, exactly. and we look back to 1991. A guy called Adam Riley, a young 15-year-old kid on the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast was the center, the epicenter at that stage of all that skateboarding, because it's flat. It's a it's a surf culture place that's really unrivaled, except for California. And the guy called Adam Riley, a 15-year-old kid, put a chain on an electric motor for a school project in 91, the year my daughter was born, and actually started his first electric skateboard. And that's not even documented. That actually happened. He went on to form Epic Skateboards in Queensland. Epic Skateboards is still there today. Epic is with a forerunner of the great ambassadors and trailblazers of this sport coming out of the Gold Coast. We're talking 97. They produced their first electric skateboard before Louis Fick on Wikipedia said he invented the electric skateboard in California. So then you move on to a guy called Dan Quinn, who was 21 at the time, and he actually started a big heavy lead acid battery on a big street cover board. And they were carving up with pro surfers like Mick Fanning and a few of the local boys up there, and what they did is they were riding these boards. They turned into a company called Fik Skateboards, FIIK. They were around 2007, way before Boosted, the TED Talk in 2012, way before, you know, Evolve and Jeff. In fact, Jeff was influenced by the Fik, the boys Dan and Adam from Fik and Epic. So when you look at where the skateboarding origins come from, electric skateboards, it's clearly coming out of Queensland, Gold Coast, and that was evident by what happened. Those guys just didn't take on board the technology that Jeff did with the double golving trucks, and then batteries went like that, the technology of lithium. So it was an amazing story. So yeah, so to really, you're right, Jack. This is and Minty, this is where it all sort of began, not in Sydney, but in Queensland. And it's again driven by that surf culture and driven by the need to, you know, sort of carve on the street, be powered by like a wave, but be powered by electricity. So that's really the origins of it all, really.
Brilliant.
That's
and
a story.
I was just thinking about just the speed and the pace of the technology, the shift from, like I say, from those lead acid batteries, those home built lash-ups, you know, just experimental things, to these space age things creations that we've got now and what's coming next. Just trying to think about maybe one of your more recent rides. You were riding at the transit board that you rode recently. What did you like most about that?
Right, this is interesting. Minty, I mean, I'm always at the cutting edge of stuff because I'm sort of, I've got the Chinese vendors contacting me, and I was the first guy to really review the Chinese electric skateboard market. The reason I did that under a lot of duress and a lot of painful comments early on 5 years ago, like, I'll quote some: "What are you doing, you moron? Chinese toys, they're just plastic. Get yourself an Evolve, get yourself a Boosted. Stop wasting your time with Chinese crap." This is 5 years ago. We can laugh now, shift, you know, let's park that, let's go forward 5 years. Most things made out of, including Boosted, the parts, Evolve, are also supplied in China. Look, they were going to come anyway. That was going to happen, but I just helped them by getting a cheap skateboard, getting a free board. I've had total transparency in that. I'm not biased. I'm totally honest to my appraisals, but the thing is, I only pick the boards I really want to pick because I don't want to review rubbish. And I don't want to not recommend a board. That's not. I like to recommend a board. So there's no point in just saying this is crap, this is no good, I wouldn't get that. And then you're not helping anybody. And at the end of the day, it's kind of productive. So I suppose the Chinese boards came in, and then I saw that happen. And Minty, I think because of all that, I get a lot of access to different stuff. And I was on a ride just Tuesday night, the last video I put up, and a guy from Peru came on board, and he's got these Transite boards. I thought that was a Chinese company. I didn't know anything about it. And his name's Eduardo. He's a Peruvian sort of engineer, and he's just specializing, and Jack, in these hub motors. He's only doing hubs. I can see the cringe and the glaze over 1,000-yard stare on most of the belt drive riders out there going, okay, enough's enough, I'm going. But he's perfecting hub motors to a point where that is the next big thing, because belts are great, but they do take maintenance, they do take work, they do take a bit of labor intensive. So he's producing these amazing boards, Minty, and they are really smooth, really quiet. And for those belt drive guys who have never ridden a hub, you get on a silent hub motor board, it is back to the future shit. It's like just, excuse the language, it's like floating through the air, being propelled by nothing. It's quite freaky. If you get a good hub motor, especially he's doing quad and 4-wheel drive hubs, as well as really powerful new generation hub motors. So I think that could be the next big thing. 4-wheel drive hubs, they're not as heavy as you think, and they work well. So I had a ride of them, and Eduardo, if you're watching, he's doing amazing work, and I'm going to get one to review and really test it properly. But that is the next stuff happening, 4-wheel drive.
But I mean, and one of the things, I guess, and just like what you were saying there about not being afraid to just go with to stick with what everybody expects you to do, because innovation does come from different places, and the Chinese, for example, or whether it's a startup in Britain, or wherever it is, somebody's got to start trying something different in order to get things to the next level. So there'll always be folk that sneer and laugh and say, "What are you doing that for?" But I quite admire your bravery for just saying, "You know what? I'm not really worried." You've got your time for bullshit sign. What is it? It says time for bullshit.
It's over here. I should hold it up.
Yeah.
True,
Let's see it.
I've always been very brave in the fact I've got thick skin. I don't care about. I've been hammered from word go on the Chinese stuff, and I still get. I was on a Vireal live feed the other day with Vic, God bless him. He was having a chat, and I came on there and said, "Great work, Vic." And even the Vireal guys who like me and like Vic go, "Penman's here. What's he doing? Trying to get commissions or something?" I thought, God, I'm a good talker. I'm kind of a confident talker. So people do get lost in that and think that he's a salesman or whatever, but that's not what I'm doing. My role is specifically trying to, like a high street tailor in London, fitting the right suits, Hugo Boss, Savile Row. I'm trying to find the right board for each person. I do a lot of work in after hours that no one sees on emails. I do apologize for watching some of the subscribers. I've got to get back to 300 odd comments. I'm getting there. But, I do help people get the right board. That's the ethos and methodology of my whole channel. The whole thing was, I got a FIC Mini. I paid $500. It didn't take me more than 20 Ks an hour. No disrespect to that board. It wasn't meant for me. It was a wrong board. And I really felt, what a waste of $500. And I thought, if I can just help someone not actually have that problem and buy once and buy properly, that's my job done. And
that's something we've talked about is the whole thing about buying your first board, because quite often folk buy the board, they meet somebody like, well, me, it was I was at a barbecue and I saw a guy with a boosted and I was like, that looks good. Let's see about that. But I made the decision to not just buy super cheap something just to see. But a lot of people do, and then they end up spending more, or it's a bit of a disappointment. So I think it's a service, it's that passion to get people connected.
Exactly. Well, I've got a Booster Mini upstairs, a Booster Mini X, and I love it because I'm so busy and I'm renovating, and the channel takes a lot of time. I've only ridden it 4 times in a year, and I try and keep it on 60%. That's a whole other story about battery management and etc. But it's like juggling wild cats. You've got to make sure to take these things out regularly and try and keep them running. Well, I turned on yesterday and I've got 47%. It won't go any higher. Now, there's a $2,500 or $2,000, $1,600 Australian Booster Mini. Really, now it's got a 6K range and it's brand new. It's got 140 Ks on the clock. I mean, this is what I mean. You can't, because I've said many times, just because something's expensive doesn't mean it's high quality, right? That's the biggest myth bestowed upon the marketer to the customer, and doesn't mean it's great quality, So that was a classic example. I'm really upset about that. So if anyone wants to buy a Booster Mini that does 8Ks, let me know. I can ship it free anywhere in the world. So the thing is, it is important to help people, and that's the thing. But the byproduct from that on my channel was mind-blowing. What I found, that I was getting emails from people, and a guy named Simon Churchley in UK there, a lovely guy, he said to me, I want to get a skateboard 3 years ago. I don't know, I've never ridden one before. And he sent me a video in the car park with his hat on and his elbow pads and knee pads going around the car park in Southampton, somewhere in the rain at 2 in the morning. And it made my day. And I said, he's going around at 5 Ks an hour. Now, fast forward, Simon's now working with Lee Wright. He's building Trampa mods. He's doing everything. He's got street Hoyt controllers made of wood. He's gone into another level. And this is the impact we have as influencers, all you guys and me, in directing people's lives in different directions. And that makes my day. If I can see someone's life change, the wife goes, my husband's lost weight. He's happy. He's not depressed anymore. That is the impact that the whole methodology of my channel now has gone in a different direction, and I'm so changing people's lives. It's unmeasurable, and you can't put a price on that. And that's really one of the great bonuses of what I do. Yeah, that's incredible.
So Andrew, in your mission, in your journey to educate everyone about what is the best electric skateboard for them to buy, have you faced any kind of force back, any kind of hate, any kind of people who didn't like what you had to say, and how did you deal with that?
Yeah. Okay, so that happens on a regular basis because, look, you got fanboys, great new catchphrase at the moment. I've just got on that last couple of months because someone told me about it. You got fanboys. Everyone loves their product. Everyone wants to justify their purchase. Everyone wants to make sure they can say, I did the right thing. And I'm first to say I did the wrong thing with it. I did the wrong thing with a lot of boards. But the problem is that you get these people come in and say, you can't compete with Evolve, you can't compete with a Booster, you can't compete with a Trampa or a Baja board. my view on that is, look, everyone has their own choice what they want to do, and I ride differently to a lot of guys, and I ride more like a street surfer. So I'm not into speed or full face helmets. I'm into just carving and getting embankments and trying to get like a wave and stuff. So I suppose what I did with that is I just said to guys, look, you know, I appreciate what you're doing, but you know, if it doesn't have the functionality or the features of, say, you know, EBoard, boosted evolve, I'm going to point those out. As we say in Australia here, you got to keep the bastards honest.
Yeah,
love that saying. And it's true. You know, you can't hide behind the bullshit. If Evolve does 28 k's range on my weight, and this, say, a Chinese board like the Viril or whatever will do 38 k's, you got to call it out for what it is, and you got to say that. And I get a lot of stuff, Jack, here where they say, you know, you bullshit or you've done this, and you just got to take it for what it is. And I'll let them have their say, let them have their voice. But yeah, it's hard, Jack. It becomes really frustrating sometimes, because I did a post, just quick, I did a post about, what was it? Let's see, the Black Hawk. That's right. I did a post saying the best board I've ever ridden. Best board I've ever ridden, which is probably true, to be honest. It carves like on a dime. I can do a 3-foot circumference diameter, and it's amazing trucks. Okay? Maybe not the strongest trucks, maybe not the most incredibly forged steel, but it's a great board. I love it. I've hammered it every night. I put that on a few of the electric skateboard pages, right? And I wasn't throwing a grenade in the chicken hen house, but it was kind of funny because I formed a glitch on the system, and everyone was coming in going, you know, yeah, what are you talking about? The volts are better. And the whole system nearly crashed in a few countries, including the Philippines. There was like 600 comments. So look, the end of the day is, as long as you get it out there and you know, even if it causes a bit of ruckus, you've got to make sure people are aware that there's other options, and don't judge a book by its cover. So that's what I say. And that works 90% of the time. Most of my boards I've recommended, I'm pretty spot on. The cool wheel, the owner had one little issue.
So that's kind of about keeping, just keeping an open mind, isn't it, as well? That not being closed-minded, because until you try something, you don't know.
That's right.
That's it. You've got a comment up there. We had a hi there from Mango a minute ago. I don't know, Mango, if you've got a question, stick it up and we'll ask
throw some questions on.
Yeah,
I'd love
so
I can see
we've got one.
They're nice, big, these questions. I can read them from here.
Yeah, so we've got one here about you're rocking the penny board carver. So that was from one of your videos a wee while back. I saw you really carving it around the car park and stuff. And do you feel there are enough e-boards in that category? You know, we spoke about, you know.
Great question.
You know.
Yeah, look, I'll answer that. Because I'm a surfer, I have gravitated towards the carving boards. If you haven't had a go on these things, I recommend have a go. They are amazing for core work, for style, for confidence. I get on these carving boards, whether it's the carver or the penny or the surf skate, and literally you forget going to a gym. On a basketball court somewhere late at night, headphones on, it's euphoric. It's like you're just got this centrifugal force happening, and it's just self-propelling. It's addictive, and I'm nearly 60 and I can do it, so anyone can do it. Now the boards I've been trying. So the question is, the best one without a doubt is the Smooth Star, born and bred out of Sydney. It's got Philippe Toledo, the world pro surfer, second in the world last year, whatever. He's learned his craft on that board. It's a big deck. I wouldn't mind putting the deck on the deck on my electric skateboard. It's such a beautiful deck. It's got a big sculpted out back foot. But yes, to the original question, the front trucks on those, these carver trucks that work on their own little pivot. It's like riding a shopping trolley on the front of your skateboard when you first get on one. It's crazy shit. It's like so scary. But when you master it, it can be really effective. I know Mello got in bed with Carver in providing the front truck for some of the Mello Carver boards with the Almeric surf brand. Yeah, they're okay, but the boards are just too small. When you get a Smooth Star, it's such a big board, such a big deck. It has the correct foot stance as a surfboard. So you're getting, if you're a surfer and you want to learn how to train better, that is the board, the Smooth Star. You can contact on my videos, the general manager or managing director in Sydney. They will ship overseas, but generally it's Australian product. There's an issue with Carver and a bit of patent stuff in America, but they will ship there. Bear in mind, Carver got in only a year before Smooth Star with that design. But yeah, definitely, without a doubt, put those on the front of your electric skateboards. If you want to carve around CBD and close range stuff, those front trucks add stability at reasonable high speed, and you can carve like crazy, and they are amazing.
So why don't you think we see more of them then?
I think because a lot of the guys, I just want to read this quick question. How do you for the first EBoard run with the left hand?
Well, I was actually going to ask you a better question, Andrew. How many countries in Europe did you go to last year? How many countries in Europe did you skate in last year?
Okay, excellent, Jack. Let's finish that question. The reason Minty they're not going for the front skateboards is a lot of guys are into speed now. Speed, it's all like Freud. It's all psychology. Oh, I'm faster. Yeah. I'm bigger. I got bigger tires, bigger wheels. Hey, come out and ride in Sydney with us guys. You'll find some of the smallest little boards can outperform anything, go around and carve and everything. So yeah, I think they're not, once they embrace that speed and power is not as important. I get it, the forests in England, the outback, the four-wheel drives of Baja, they love all that. There's a market for that. But certainly, yeah, once you get into CBD street riding, you can't beat a carving truck, and that will work really well. But cool. I recommend this one. I'll show you in a second. The Gullwing Double Kingpin Sidewinder 2. Put that on the front of your skateboards. It's amazing. It carves as good as a carver, and they're only cheap from the States, $60 a pair. I'll show you on my shuckerboard in a minute what I recommend. So yeah, that's what I reckon that one, Minty. And Jack, the countries. Yeah, I did 17. I did 27 cities and 9 countries, and I wanted to see more of the guys and meet more of the guys that have rides in England and Paris and.
So what countries did you go to?
Okay, I went to Great Britain first, and I went to London, and you saw, okay, I copped some flack going over the Tower Bridge in the bike lane. Yes, we all saw that. I don't recommend doing that, but I just wanted to do that once and have a bit of fun. That was fun.
I also did a video going over Tower Bridge, so I'm also...
No way?
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You probably beat me for sure, but then my one was late to the party. Oh, brilliant. And what did you find? How did you find the experience? I found it pretty scary. It's a small lane, isn't it?
Well, when I went over it, it was in 2017 when 3D cameras were just coming out in 360. I was pretty quiet traffic. I went about 3 o'clock, so it wasn't too busy.
Oh my God! I think, yeah, you know what? I think I saw that.
It's a pretty tight ride on that bridge.
Yes,
it's pretty tight with the cars on that bridge.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty funny. Yeah. But
how did you feel going over it?
Well, my legs are shaking a bit because I'm experienced and I've done heaps of crazy stuff, but it's just the cars were so close and there wasn't room for error. So if you did fall off, you probably could go close to a car. So, and I didn't know the ground or the suspension in before anything. Hey, a big shout out to Kyle's come online from the States. Thank you, Kyle. Yeah, I wasn't sure the suspension, the gaps and stuff in the middle. We have the bridges here, but yeah, it was pretty good. It's a nice bridge. I love London. London is one of my favorite cities. You guys are living in a great place, UK. Love the UK. It's incredible. But then I went to Paris, where the streets are lined with gold. Everything's no corrugation gaps in the road. No. In Australia, we have so much heat here that we have. If you guys know the questions, you can just double check me later. We have corrugation gaps, so it goes everywhere. When I went to Europe, I could not believe everything's just smooth, glass, like continual concrete, which is paradise for electric skateboard riders, right through Paris, right through Germany, right through Munich, right through everywhere, Zurich and the UK. So it was an amazing adventure. I want to tell you a couple of funny stories in a little while about what I did, but yeah, that's the answer to that one. 27 cities, 9 countries.
Out of all those cities and out of all those countries, if you had to go skate somewhere tomorrow, where would you go?
You know where I'd go? To be honest, I'd probably go to the Amalfi Coast. And that's something that to me was unexpected. I got there with my folding board, and I'll just show it for a second. Just one second. This is my folding board, right? Now this thing is done over 2,000 Ks, and it's actually, it looks like crude a little bit with that's the truck in the front there. I'll just open it up. There we go. That's the board. It's a sexy stainless steel beast. Look at that thing. 3 mil stainless, weighs about 10 kilos. I've got a standard Variel system in there, which is the hub motors are absolutely mind-blowing. They've gone over cobblestones in Rome. They've gone everywhere. Haven't missed a beat. No chips or cracks. But I took this thing and I was walking around on my shoulder a fair bit like that. Then I got a bit, obviously got a bit people are getting a little bit concerned. So I basically folded it. And when it's folded down, I want to talk about this in a second. When it's folded down, you can see it's actually quite a small footprint. So when I took that to Malfi Coast, I basically didn't expect to ride there at all. I wasn't expecting to ride there. And when I got there, I saw how the roads were so smooth, right? And they wrap around the cantilever of the cliff like this. So you're off the edge of the cliff. And the Italians, they can ride motorbikes really well. They're safe over there. And if I went again, Jack, I would go I did from Positano to Priano. It was about 20 minutes each way. It's just breathtaking. You guys are in Europe. You can get there so cheap, you know.
Yeah, I've been on the Malfi Coast, but I've never been there on a board. It's got to be said.
Oh,
just looking at the board you've got there, and it's a really solid bit of kit, and you've saying it, you know, it's lasted the miles. We've got a comment here from Benjamin saying he's still rocking a 12-year-old SLA powered street board. 6'6" and nearly 300 pounds, and many new boards seem to be light but don't be as industrial. What would you recommend that's newer and strongly built? Any recommendations?
Okay. Now, when you're saying it's SLA powered street board, that's an electric skateboard, correct? Yeah, is SLA.
Yeah.
I reckon for 300 pounds, you're up around you're more than about 110 kilos. And you like street wheels, obviously urethane carving on that. Looks like it.
I think so. It looks like it. That's what seems to be.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? With that in that range, and that height, and that sort of weight, you're looking at definitely. You can't go wrong with. I mean, if you're a street guy skater like me, you're not going to be looking at all terrains or the Evolves or stuff. The Evolves, the street wheels on the 107 flywheels are a really good option. The current Viril is a solid thing. It doesn't flex. You don't want your height and weight flex on a deck. So the Viril RS is a great buy, solid as. I'm not trying to sell it. I'm just saying it's a beast. I can't. I'm 100 kilos nearly. I can't, or 95. I can't even. It feels like it's a solid. It's like this thing. It's just a solid tank. Yeah. I mean, also probably. What else do I recommend? Some of these new Transide boards coming out, the all hubs, 4-wheel drive. That's what I'd recommend for you. The power on that thing, 50 kilometers an hour in 4 seconds. I rode it yesterday. It's scary. It's just friggin' scary. And I'm 95 kilos. It took me like a feather. So I think the direct drive Transite 4-wheel drive would be the go if you like street wheels, that guy. So that would be. I'll get one of those on my channel. Have a look at. You can check that out. But yeah, it's a specialized size for your weight and height. Definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Brilliant.
I think Meeple also got all-wheel drive as well.
Say again, Jack.
I think Meeple also gives a few cheap options for the all-wheel drive as well from a few different companies.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Same kind of hubs as you got on that board.
Okay, that's a good question. That's a really good question. Someone's asking about my helmet situation. Yeah, look, I'll tell you what. This helmet's a bump cap one. This is not a registered. It's got a ½ inch of foam in here. It's got a Kevlar underneath. It's designed for me. I only wear this when I go cruising the park or down the beach. You saw when I was overseas, I wore that, unfortunately, because I didn't have a folding helmet in time for my trip. But I was really careful where I went. I went mainly on footpaths, mainly on only under 35 Ks with this thing. This thing will do 40 Ks an hour in 4 seconds, but I'll take it down in a second. But yeah, helmet all the time, guys. I always wear a helmet. I'm in traffic because that's where you need a helmet. I always wear helmets when I'm riding. Generally, every night ride you'll see I'll wear a helmet. So yes, my attitude has changed. I haven't had any falls on my head still in 46 years of riding skateboards. I just know how to fall. I know it sounds corny, but you do get to know how to fall and roll. I've had a lot of falls. I've had 4 last month, but anything dangerous. But yeah, helmet's still important. I always wear my helmet when I'm out. Plus, it looks cool now. If you've got a helmet, okay, if you've got no helmet on and you've got bare feet and you're riding on the road, you look like a homeless crackhead, right? And no one's going to pay any respect to you. No disrespect to someone on drugs. I didn't enjoy that. But if you've got a helmet on, you've got full gear, you're going to look more professional. You're going to look like you know what you're doing. Yeah. And, you know, if cars, especially cars, are going to respect that more. So I always wear a helmet. So I hope that answers that question, yeah. But back to the Amalfi Coast. That's where I'd go, Jack. Amalfi Coast is breathtaking. It's smooth as glass. You can ride the whole coastline there to Positano. And on my channel, I'm going to have a ride from Positano right down where I rode down to Positano, and the Italians were going. One guy goes, "I can't believe it. What are you doing? You're crazy, man. You're crazy." And they couldn't even comprehend someone going 40k or 35k's on this thing up a 20% hill. Against, everyone walking down with their fans blowing. It was hilarious. I felt like Frankie Sampata, the guy with the jet boots. The jet boot guy, I felt like I was a freak of nature. It was like rock star stuff. That was the funnest thing I've ever done in my life. So if I could take groups over to the Amalfi Coast, like 10 guys, and just ride, there's nothing wrong with that, Yeah, we saw cops all the time. They were cool. And I mean me and him, her, whatever.
The locals would start to complain about all the crazy Australians and electric skateboards ruining their perfect vista,
You'd have a window of about 4 months, I reckon. You make some money, have some trips and do some. But now that would be amazing. I think as long as we're careful, respectful, and some of those Italians, the way they fly around those Vespas.
I was going to say, you're not going to get much hassle from the Italians. I once saw the best thing that I saw in Italy, and it was on the Amalfi Coast, was a woman riding a Vespa, and she was trying to read a paperback on cobbles whilst she wasn't a passenger, she was driving it, and I thought that is the definition of optimism right there.
I'm surprised she wasn't putting her lipstick on at the same time, Minnie.
I know she wasn't even multitasking, but it was crazy. So thinking about that thing about going to a new place, and kind of that first wow of seeing people go and taking the double take because it hasn't been there, it hasn't really been in that area before. And I remember even just here, just up in Aberdeen, like 2 years ago when I started, there really weren't many boards here. So I remember, like overtaking buses coming up hills, and folk would just be like, "What?" And
that's right.
I did this thing where I would lean forward and just put my hands back, and they wouldn't see the skateboard, so it looked like just by the sheer force of will you were going up the hill. Like you see folk freaking out. It was good fun.
It's amazing.
But thinking about you, but you went to Venice though, and that was the first time you reckon anybody'd ever.
Yeah, look.
No, I've been to Venice on electric skateboard before you. So
Jack, that's brilliant. Look, maybe I was the first one to try and get it on some sort of tape. But you must have video of that, did you, as well?
No, that was just when I was starting, and it was with the bench wheel.
Oh.
And I just took the battery out and put it in my bag.
Oh, brilliant. Well, there you go, people. If you're watching, Jack beat me to it. What's interesting? When I got... One thing I want to start doing is doing some exotic riding in places. Like I want to try and ride on the Great Wall of China. I want to try and push some boundaries and do things that no one's done. And Venice was a really interesting one. I rode around a bit in Venice, and there was a question early on about the. I'll get back to the Zillboard question in a minute. Yeah, the Venice thing was so exciting because I knew it was illegal there. So was the drone, and I had that contraband drone up within like 10 seconds, up in the air, 400 feet over Venice, and. It was a lot of risks I took over there. I took a lot of risks. But, that Venice thing was fun. But the Amalfi Coast was definitely a first. I made the local newspaper, and they got me in the local Positano news. And it was pretty funny. I rang Wikipedia. I said, "Hey, can you put me on for the first ride?" And they said, hung up me. "Hello? Is anyone there? Is anyone there?" Only kidding. No, but I don't think Wikipedia will wear that one. But still, the first person to ride the Amalfi Coast is pretty cool. And that is something that's untapped. If you're thinking of that, if you're watching this, guys, you want to go, take your board. Just get over there. It's breathtaking. Do it early morning. There's a lot of buses that come through and trucks, so be careful. Those tunnels, the James Bond tunnels you go through in the mountains, it's breathtaking. But yeah, that was brilliant. I also loved Amsterdam. That was sketchy because it's totally illegal there. But I never got pulled over by cops anywhere. If I did, I'm an older dude, so they kind of think, he's not a young kid. He's not a reckless sort of person. You can sort of talk yourself out of it a bit. And I think being aged, if anyone's watching the young, if you get older, you get a lot of benefits sometimes. You get a lot of get jail cards. So yeah, no, I love.
I only got in trouble with the police in Italy, and he was just riding alongside me on his car, and he just looked over and he put his thumb down like we're in some kind of gladiatorial amphitheater. It's like, no, this is not good.
Oh, that's hilarious.
So I was like, okay.
I also I was going up the Malfi Coast one day and I was flying up there. There's a kid came out with these lemons, his father, and he looked at me, this 10-year-old, and he kind of mouth dropped, and I went flying up there 38 Ks. He just tipped the box of lemons, and they came right down the road, and I was just dodging between the lemons. And lucky I had the Goldwing double-side winder trucks. I just dodged. It's like some weird computer game. I was going, missing all these lemons, and managed to clear the whole thing. And the father's just laughing. And then it was a great place to ride. So that was probably one of the most fun places. But I love Paris. I love the streets are paved with gold there. They're smooth as silk. Well, I got to Zurich, and I remember I wanted to get the drone up. It was all illegal there, and I'd never been to Europe before. I'd never seen, the clock towers and the dong, dong all the time. So I'm sitting there trying to work out like a sniper where I can get the drone up. And then I found a place, and I got down there at 4 in the afternoon, got the drone ready. I got the little spark, which is a little noisy thing, but it's pretty quiet when it gets up high. I heard the clock tower go dong, dong, went and I got right up over Zurich.
So you're using the stealth of the clock tower noise to hide the drone going up, like in Ghost Recon or something.
Yeah, it was so much fun. I've got drone footage everywhere. You'll see guys be watching the Colosseum. I'll go over the Colosseum with the military. I go through the military guards. They stop me with their guns and their M16s. It was pretty funny. So a lot of stuff's coming. I'm just sprinkling a few travel videos in there for the wives, the girlfriends. They have to sit through some of my boring videos of reviews for the husbands or boyfriends. They can get a bit of benefit from that. And I'd like to do more of that kind of stuff. It's sort of fun, pushing boundaries in certain areas. But, another funny thing, I went to Paris one day and I was going into a big hotel. There was a revolving door. And I was walking in with a skateboard on my shoulder, folded. And it was a big revolving door, and I went in and there was 2 French police there, and they saw me come in with this thing, and it's because it's all steel and it looks like something, something weird. I kind of walked in. He looked at me and did this, and then as he did that, he came to the revolving door. So I kept going round again, went round the revolving door, and he got in behind me, and he's going like this in French, and I kept going around, and I thought, if I don't go out, if I get now, he's going to get me. So I went back in again, and as I came out, I managed to just go literally like bang, and then drop it on the ground. And just dropped it and just took off at the revolving door and kept going. And he goes, and I often thought, what did he want? Maybe he wanted to buy one. Maybe he was trying to find me. It was pretty fun. If I had that on a film, that would be priceless. Like putting it in the revolving door and then taking off. That's a great time. I loved Europe.
The Great Escape.
2021. I'm getting back 2021 late, so I'll meet up with you guys. We'll get you on the channel. We'll get all the guys of the Esk8 UK group to go for a ride. We'll get you all showcased. It'll be fantastic. It'll be so good. Someone's just asking about the Zillboard, just quickly.
Yeah.
The Zillboard was a mind. Yeah. Okay. What's happening? A guy called Frank in Sydney contacted me, and he's an engineer for the military on drones and stuff. Not work for the military, but contracted. He's got the vortex cooling motors. He's got the carbon oxide graphene batteries, which is actually patented. Frank has been working full time to try and make ends meet. He's also had some issues with getting the motors developed and making the whole new board. The Zillboard 2 is a whole new thing. It's all more alloy. It's got a new revolutionary truck system. I've seen it. It's unbelievable. It will come. I know I've been saying that, but I spoke to Frank yesterday. He's now got the prototype for the compressed deck and the battery system. It's like an Audi electric skateboard, all alloy, and it's very different to what the Trampa skeleton was. So it is coming. Probably I'll have the motors on my channel to show the embossed motors with all the vortex cooling 7 bearing battery motors. They're 7 bearing motors, but they're actually from the drone industry. They're not actually skate motors, so they're another level again, and they whistle and all that. So it's that question. I'm not involved. I'm just a reviewer, but hopefully I'll get that whole board soon. So I hope that answers that question. The Zillboard, yeah. So it is coming. It's not dead and buried. It's definitely coming in.
Well, with that kind of build up, we're all looking forward to seeing it.
I know it'll be quite incredible. Someone's asking about what's my least favorite skateboard. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus. I don't really. I don't review rubbish. So a lot of stuff doesn't make to my channel. If it doesn't make, it doesn't mean it wasn't good. Just I didn't probably get to review it. Or there's some stuff that is a bit of a problem at the moment, and I won't talk about it here. But I mean, communication with the vendors saying, look, your motors are crackling, they're not working. whether it's the pandemic or they're not getting back to me, I'll make a note on my channel on every video as a pinned comment if there's a problem. So yeah, there's a few out there that
there's a lot of no-name stuff on Alibaba, I find, with the battery just so unreliable. Half the time people are receiving them and they're not even working, you know. It's like the manufacturers just keep taking potluck or whatever with the product.
Dead right. You're right, Jack. To that question, that guy, don't buy anything, you know, like the Alibaba AliExpress, because they look the same. They like this new Eck-wheel I'm going to get next week, the full planetary gearing, the new model. It's the company that actually invented that planetary gearing, not the Eck Mobile one. They've copied it. This is the real deal. You got some on Alibaba, they're like 1,200, but they're just forged steel. They're not gas pistons. You get what you pay for. So with my channel, I won't look at that stuff. I won't waste my time looking at that rubbish. I'll basically pretty much always just get the best of that class so I can get it.
I tend to feel like if it's a great product, people are willing to put a brand behind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. We've got one about, do you have any fears about busting yourself up if you've, as you get older? We're all knocking on a bit. Well, Jack's the youngster here, but.
Good question.
Well, by these standards, I'll take that one.
Look, I think you're right. You should ride to your own expectations, your own ability. That's the most critical thing. So I don't push. I went out last night on a night ride. I had the Black Hawk and it carves like crazy. I was going through the still great drains around the Barangaroo Park, and they were a bit slippery. And the back slipped a bit. I nearly went at 35 k's an hour. I had my $800 Apple Watch on, my camera. Yeah. I think if I had gone, that was it. Show's over for a while for Andrew Penman YouTube. So I was thinking, yeah, come on, Andrew, just be a bit more careful. So you've got to be mindful that be careful on your expectations and what your ability is. That's the first thing. And I haven't had a fall now, 3 falls in 3 months. I was just trying to do tight circles and I came off in 5 k's an hour. But I don't fall at all. But if I do fall, I don't put my arm out. I just tuck it under and apologize for that. I'm not sure what that is. I tuck it under and I sort of try and roll. Also, I don't wear wrist pads or elbow pads, but I do wear knee pads. But to that question, I've fallen. I'm nearly 50. I'm 59 in a month's time, so I have fallen. But I'm a pretty solid guy. I'm 92 kilos. I played rugby league. I surf. I'm pretty solid. I'm probably not your normal 59-year-old guy in terms of I haven't broken an arm or broken anything all my life. So I've been very lucky. But yeah, be careful. I'd pad up if you're not totally familiar with the area you're riding, and definitely elbow knee pads. I wear knee pads on areas I don't know, and definitely helmet 100%. But yeah, no, I don't worry about it. I'm approaching 60. I'll be hopefully doing this. Hopefully be on your channel when you've got 20 million subscribers and be 70 and be one of the oldest guys, still kind of riding at 75 or even 77. Who knows? That's the hope. So there you go.
That would be awesome. And do you have a message? There's a lot of older skaters out there that see these electric skateboards. They love to get them a try, but they feel like, it's something for the young folk. Do you have any kind of message for them?
Oh, absolutely. Put it this way. The technology has evolved at such a rapid pace now with batteries, stability, trucks, 13-inch wide trucks on some of these, the Vareels are 13 edge to edge. It's like driving a car. The Esks now with the hobby wing coming in with the most smoothest takeoff, smoothest braking. You really can't go wrong. If you can ride a push bike, you can ride a skateboard, okay? That's absolutely it. There's no real balance required. It's not like some Cirque du Soleil trick now. You've got to sort of be super fit, anyone can ride these things. Like for instance, a great example was Simon, who had never ridden much before, and I saw him ride the first ride and he was very unsure of what he was doing and going 5 k's an hour. I got that video somewhere. I love it. It inspires me. And now he's carving up with Lee Wright. They're going everywhere and screaming around. So this is what I mean. It's a simple thing to learn. You have to rely on your equipment. You've got to. If I had any doubts on that folding board on the Amalfi Coast going down 20 degrees with trucks and stuff, you just know that the equipment now is so advanced coming out of China and so good. In a lot of respect, you can rely on it, and you can rely on it with your life. So yeah, if you want to get into it, guys, get into it. Just get a cheap Chinese board. Don't pay the big bucks for booster. That's another whole story. But like Evolve, you don't have to spend that kind of money. Go to the my website, I'll go to my channel, see what I'm reviewing, and just get into and give it a go, because it's so much fun. Start with all terrains, I recommend, if you're a new rider. All terrains, air tires, a really carby truck. Something like the Black Hawk's an amazing, right? You can't possibly, I've trained a lot of people recently, and they can't turn on the stiffer boards. They kind of get off again and move the board. With the Black Hawk, it turns like, you know, like so easy. It's so easy to ride. That's the example. That's a great board to learn on. It's just incredible. All-terrain, airless tires, yeah. So that's what my answer would be. Get into it. It'll change your life. It's like when you look at the commuting aspect of it, and it's another layer. It's like parking a horse. It's like having a horse, and you have a coffee and you get back on your horse. I think of it like a horse. It's an amazing concept. It's just mind-blowing. It really is, yeah.
So it doesn't matter what age you are or what you look like, it's always worth giving it a shot. Yeah. Guys, on that note, unfortunately, we're running out of time tonight. Andrew, I'm sure we could spend another 2 hours chatting.
Oh, that's awesome.
We'll have to get you on the show in the future.
Yeah, I'm sure you've got plenty more adventures to come, I think.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you so much. It's such a great honor and privilege to be on your channel. You guys are the cutting edge and the founders of this whole Esk8, you know, Facebook thing. What you're doing is unbelievable to support this industry, to grow it, and I'm in awe of what you guys achieve with these Facebook pages. It blows my mind. I think my little contribution is nothing compared to what you're doing in the community. It takes a lot of work. So thank you so much for having me on, and thank you to everyone for watching. And I'll get in with you guys on a collab on my channel. Jack and Minty will go do some stuff. I'll organise that in a month or so. We'll get that organised. And I thank you again so much, Jack. Thanks, Minty. And Sookie, thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure, Andrew. It's been a pleasure. So it's good night from me, Skater.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night from Minty as well.
Good night from Minty as well.
Thanks,
cheers. Bye.
See you guys. Oh, that was awesome.